elections. Watch Race to Power on WION. World is One.
Hello and welcome to WION's special election show, Race to Power. I'm Ananya Datta and I'm here to tell you everything your politicians are doing and also not doing. Here's what we have lined up for you. In India, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has begun his Modi factor, interestingly from the southernmost state of Kerala. Why and what is he promising? We will tell you all. Now, with elections just 4 days away in Bangladesh, we will be decoding the most important link. What is at stake for India in this election? Now, with India's general elections just a few months away, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to turn around the fortunes of the Bharatiya Janata Party in southern part of India. It's extremely crucial. The party is eyeing over 84 seats in the upcoming polls from the south and is now focused on increasing its footprint in the region. As part of BJP's Mission South 2024, the Prime Minister addressed a mass gathering of over 200,000 women at the BJP's Women's Conference in Kerala's Thrissur. The event was titled Empower Women with Modi and was organized to commend him for successfully passing the Women's Reservation Bill in both houses of the Parliament. The Prime Minister said that women empowerment is India's biggest guarantee as it plays an important role in the future. He lashed out at the opposition, including the Congress and the left parties, for allegedly delaying the Women's Reservation Bill.
बीते 10 वर्षों में हमने महिलाओं का जीवन आसान बनाने के लिए अनेक कदम उठाए हैं। हमने 10 करोड़ उज्ज्वला गैस कनेक्शन दिए। ये सफलता कैसे मिली? मोदी युडे गारंटी। हमने 11 करोड़ परिवार की बहनों को पाइप से पानी दिया। ये क्यों हुआ? मोदी युडे गारंटी। हमने 12 करोड़ परिवार की बहनों के लिए टॉयलेट बनवाया। ये कैसे बने? मोदी युडे गारंटी।
Now, after landing in Kerala, the Prime Minister straight head to a road show in Thrissur. The whole town was decked up with banners and hoardings to welcome the Prime Minister. And the women were seen waiting for his arrival to catch a glimpse of him. With this rally, the Prime Minister and the BJP are hoping to woo women voters, which constitute over 51% of the electorate in the state. This is according to the 2023 electoral roll. Nationally speaking, women voters stand at 49% for the general elections slated this year. Narendra Modi shared the stage with President of Indian Olympics Association PT Usha, actor Shobhana, singer Vaikom Vijaya Lakshmi, among others.
आज देश में चौड़ी सड़कें बन रही हैं, आधुनिक रेलवे, आधुनिक एयरपोर्ट बन रहे हैं, लेकिन इंडी गठबंधन की सरकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ मोदी विरोध के कारण यहां काम होने नहीं देती। इंडी गठबंधन यहां केरला में लूट की खुली छूट चाहता है। यहां गोल्ड की स्मगलिंग को लेकर जो खेल चलता है, जिन दफ्तरों से चलता है, वो किसी से छिपा नहीं है। ये लोग चाहते हैं कि केंद्र सरकार गरीबों के लिए, यहां के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए जो फंड देती है, उसके बारे में पूछताछ ही न हो।
Modi was on a two-day visit to Tamil Nadu, Lakshadweep and Kerala. On Tuesday, he dedicated to nation and laid foundation stone of several projects worth over $2.4 billion in Tamil Nadu's Tiruchirappalli. Later, he visited Lakshadweep and chaired a review meeting related to the Union Territory's progress. He also inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of projects worth $120 million in Kavaratti. While the BJP has garnered political dominance in northern part of India, southern part of India has always been a challenge. In 2019 general elections, while the rest of India was swept under the Modi tsunami, 5 southern states had a different story to tell. BJP-led NDA won 30 of 130 lower house seats in southern part of India. Lower house is the Lok Sabha of India, and BJP won 25 of 28 seats in Karnataka, but 0 in Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Despite no victory, BJP managed to increase vote share in Kerala. With the Prime Minister kick-starting the campaign in the south, BJP can hope that the region would respond positively to Modi, if not the party, thereby pushing up the BJP's Lok Sabha tally even further. But will the Modi factor actually work in southern part of India? Watch this space to know more. Now, staying on with the political developments in India, let's take a look at what's happening in the opposition camp. The India Alliance, or the group of 28 opposition parties, have not decided on either a prime ministerial face or a convener. Their seat-sharing talks are still in the early stages, and remember, the election year has already started, and the country may go to polls as early as February. This is what the experts are saying. At this point, 2 key leaders of the alliance, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren, are facing the heat of the country's money laundering and corruption watchdog, the Enforcement Directorate. Starting with the eastern state of Jharkhand, which is among the richest mineral zones in the world, the tribal-dominated state boasts 40% of India's mineral reserves and 29% of the country's coal deposits. The state is currently ruled by a coalition of Congress and the regional party JMM. Chief Minister Hemant Soren belongs to the JMM, which is the party of the opposition India Alliance. Just this morning, the Enforcement Directorate conducted searches at the premises of some close associates of Soren. The raids were part of a probe into an ongoing money laundering case. Soren was issued a quote-unquote last opportunity by the agency to record his statement in an alleged land scam days ago. Soren has called the ED summons illegal. The ED summons come just days after a party lawmaker in the state resigned from the state assembly without giving any reason. The sudden resignation of any senior politician sparked speculations as the Enforcement Directorate intensified its probe in cases against the Chief Minister. The buzz in the state capital of Ranchi at the moment is that the Chief Minister may resign and pass on the reins to his wife, Kalpana Soren. This has a precedent in the state. When Jharkhand was part of the state of Bihar in the 1990s, the then Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Yadav's wife, Rabri Devi, became Chief Minister in his place. The move came after an arrest warrant was issued against Yadav in a corruption case in 1997. Meanwhile, in New Delhi, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal ignored an ED summon for the 3rd time. ED demanded Kejriwal's presence in connection with the liquor policy scam case. The Aam Aadmi Party, also known as AAP, the leader, Arvind Kejriwal, also called the ED summons illegal and alleged political vendetta by the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party government. The Enforcement Directorate's pressure on key leaders of the opposition alliance, that too just months before the national elections, has triggered a political row in the country. The opposition has accused the BJP government of using state agencies for political purposes. We are now just 4 days away from Bangladesh's national election. Sheikh Hasina is widely expected to return for a fourth term, and boycotting opposition leaders are either in jail, in exile, or on the run. Violence in the streets that started 3 to 4 months ago, it has only escalated since then. To contain the tensions, armed forces will remain on field duty for 8 days. Starting today till 10th of January, that is 3 days after the polling day. The army will also be stationed at key points. The Bangladeshi Navy will remain deployed in 19 coastal districts, and the Air Force will provide helicopter assistance to polling stations in the remote hilly areas. While such measures are common in any other nation's elections as well, Bangladesh is visibly overcautious because of its history, where not a single election has passed without violence. Let me explain this to you in detail. In the months leading to the 2024 election, around 10 people lost their lives. Just 2 weeks back, a train was set on fire that killed a mother and a 3-year-old son. The opposition has called for protests, strikes, and a non-cooperation movement. Now let's go to the last election. In 2018, at least 17 people were killed in poll-related violence, and allegations of election manipulation against Sheikh Hasina was a major concern even back then. Then in 2014, at least 19 people were killed in political violence. 440 polling places were closed early because of security concerns, and reports of rampant arson were also seen. Let's go further back to 2008 now. The 2 years prior to that, the country was already witnessing intense violence across cities. While the election day was smooth, more or less, 2 people were killed in post-election violence. 2001 was one of the most violent elections Bangladesh has ever seen. Reports suggest that supporters of Bangladesh Nationalist Party that won the 2001 election targeted the Hindu community specifically. Now, as expected, the situation is tense in the country. The opposition has been holding protests, strikes. However, political experts in Dhaka say that these moves are having far less of an impact than what they had expected. So much so that on strike days, people are going about their lives in normal ways. The election in Bangladesh is turning out to be crucial, not just for its people, but also for West Asia and the rest of the world. You see, the story of Bangladesh will not be complete without mentioning its neighbor across the border, India. And Bangladesh go way back in time. New Delhi helped Bangladesh achieve its liberation in 1971, and as we will establish shortly, India is still influential in Bangladesh, right from the kitchen to the ballot. Let's take a closer look at New Delhi's stakes in the upcoming Bangladeshi elections. Take a look at this map. Bangladesh is almost surrounded by India on 3 sides, except for the 271-kilometer long border with Myanmar in the southeast. India and Bangladesh share an over 4,000-kilometer land boundary. For India, Bangladesh is not only a neighbor, but a strategic partner and a close ally, crucial to the security and connectivity of its northeastern states. India and Bangladesh have already started some connectivity projects in this region, by road, rail, river, or even maritime transport. India and Bangladesh also have close cultural, ethnic, and linguistic ties. To understand this better, we actually spoke to Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee. She is the former ambassador to Netherlands and France and also the author of bestseller on Bengal partition. Let's listen in.
Bangladesh is a neighboring country with whom we have been able to settle all territorial issues. That is a great relief, considering that we have, on one hand, Pakistan, on the other hand, China, who have systematically questioned and tried to cause conflict on our border. Bangladesh, in fact, is an amazing success story. And what many don't know is India's role in contributing through development cooperation, through assistance, etc., to Bangladesh's success story economically.
A friendly regime in Dhaka is absolutely necessary for New Delhi. Enter Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League. The party, once led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, has had close ties with India since the liberation of Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Mujib, has maintained good relations with India since she was first elected in 1996. In Sheikh Hasina's long years in power, especially after 2008, the ties have strengthened and evolved into a multi-dimensional partnership. Now, Bangladesh is India's biggest trading partner in the subcontinent. It is also India's second biggest export partner. Just last year, the total bilateral trade value was over $14 billion. In this, India's exports stood at over $12 billion. Now, cotton yarn, petroleum products and cereal were among top commodities exported, while the imports over $2 billion imports included RMG, cotton, cotton fabrics and jute. Now, just last year, Bangladesh and India launched trade transactions in their own national currencies. Given the booming trade and overall bilateral relationship, it's only natural for New Delhi to support the Hasina-led Awami League government that is expected to return for a fourth term in this year's election. Also, since India's other options are limited, India had a harrowing experience with the Khalida Zia-led BNP government that was in power between 2001 and 2006. With its links to Islamist extremists, India blames the BNP government for the rise in the number of groups that supported extremist groups and actions across the India-Bangladesh border.
It was a difficult relationship because the BNP, unfortunately, has close links with Pakistan. The BNP also has a certain anti-Hindu approach, as a result of which many Bangladeshi Hindus left during that period.
Soon after coming to power in 2009, Sheikh Hasina won favour with Delhi after acting against ethnic insurgent groups in India's northeast, some of which were operating from Bangladesh itself. Looking ahead, Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has promised to maintain its friendly relations with India if she is re-elected. The Awami League has even made it a point to mention this in their election manifesto as well. With the BNP boycotting the upcoming polls, the return of Sheikh Hasina is almost certain, and New Delhi sees comfortably placed, at least in the near future. All right, more troubles for the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, however. The Peshawar High Court has restored the Election Commission of Pakistan's December 22nd order, which means that the PTI's intra-party polls are being held to be unconstitutional. That was the original order of the Election Commission of Pakistan when it revoked the party's iconic bat electoral symbol. The High Court's decision comes as a blow for the party. PTI alleges it is not being allowed a level playing field in the run-up to the general elections. So what happens to PTI members now? In case a party fails to obtain an election symbol, its candidates have to contest for the national and provincial assembly seats as independents. Now that means that they cannot join the PTI even after winning the elections, because elected representatives can only join a party duly enlisted with the Election Commission of Pakistan. But PTI has assured that it will not boycott the election even if they lose the bat symbol, as it casts aspirations on the legitimacy of the elections themselves. The barrister Gaur Khan said, and I'm quoting here, "I think that taking away the bat from PTI raises a question of legitimacy with regard to the election. If you take away the bat, the world will not recognize your election." Now, the PTI is planning to take the case to its final destination, which is the Supreme Court of Pakistan. If no relief is awarded to the PTI even at that stage, the party will face extreme hurdles in being a legitimate contender in the 2024 elections. Troubles are also mounting in Taiwan. 4 Chinese balloons were spotted across Taiwan Island on Tuesday near one of its air bases. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry said this and confirmed this. And this comes amid the simmering tensions with Beijing as Taiwan gears up for its presidential elections this month. The balloons were seen moving across the median line that separates Taiwan from China. Taiwanese Defense Ministry said that the balloons were traveling northeast before they disappeared. Ahead of its 13th January presidential and parliamentary election, Taiwan is on high alert for Chinese activities, both militarily and politically. The self-ruled island nation is claimed by China. China has warned any attempt to push for Taiwan's official independence will result in violence. It has framed the January 13th presidential and legislative elections as a choice between war and peace. Before the election, China directed its anger mostly at Lai Ching-te, the presidential candidate of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, also known as the DPP. It has rejected his calls for dialogue since it sees him as a separatist. Both the DPP and Taiwan's largest opposition party, the KMT, say only they can preserve the peace. Both have also committed to bolstering Taiwan's defenses and say only the island's people can decide their future. But despite denials, the KMT has long favored China. Security authorities in the West are trying to gauge China's potential level of seriousness over a military reaction to the election results. Since the year 2020 presidential election in Taiwan, China has increased its military presence in the Taiwanese Strait. Some say that it's increased to an unprecedented degree. And now we get you the Race to Power wrap, which brings you all the other poll stories making headlines from around the world. The Supreme Court of India has refused to stay the expulsion of Trinamool Congress lawmaker Mahua Moitra from the parliament. The bench rejected Moitra's plea to allow her to participate in the House proceedings. The Supreme Court has posted the matter for hearing in the week commencing from March 11th. Indonesia's election watchdog has summoned President Joko Widodo's son for alleged campaign violations. Gibran Raka is currently the leading presidential candidate's running mate. The election watchdog chapter in central Jakarta summoned Gibran for allegedly handing out free milk to people at a public event last month. And with that, we are wrapping up this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching. I'm Ananya Datta.
India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.